Just today, a grade 11 pupil was stabbed during an altercation at a school in the area in what is believed to be a gang-related violence. Well, joining me now is Annah Moyo-Kupeta, Executive Director at the Center for the Study of Violence and Reconciliation. A very good afternoon to you. Thank you very much for your time, Annah. Now, it's a complex story right now as things stand. Details still very sketchy. We've even seen some pictures that people have been circulating whose veracity, of course, we cannot vouch for at this stage. But it appears that there is both vigilantism involved, but also gang violence where, as some people have alleged, gang members are avenging the death of someone who belonged to their gangs. Now, because we can't vouch for a lot of this information, I just want to begin by asking you, just from where you are sitting, having looked at these issues for many years now, how rife is gang violence and how is it affecting especially poor and vulnerable communities?
Thank you, Vuyo, and good afternoon. I'll start by offering condolences to the family of the deceased. Sisho City alohlanga lungehlanga, as we usually say when such unfortunate events happen. The question that you ask, Vuyo, is an important one. How rife is gang violence in South African communities, particularly the communities that are often on the periphery of society in terms of service delivery, in terms of particularly even economic power of a country. It's very rife. And when we look at gang violence in these communities and why young people or the youth, for instance, join gangs in these communities, there are many issues. And some of the research that we've done at CSVR has revealed, amongst other things, that it's the issue of belonging, where the youth feel a sense of belonging when they have an identity or they are conscripted into a gang. There is that sense of belonging, and when you couple that with the issue of lack of absent fathers in many communities and in many homes, particularly young boys then have this sense of someone to look up to, who are usually the gang leaders, someone who's now giving them advice, who's giving them some form of mentorship, or at least, at the very least, a warped view of what a man should be and how a man should behave in society. So there are a lot of issues, basically, but the one that really comes up a lot in our research is this sense of belonging that people finally have when now they belong to something that is greater than them, as a form of escape from poverty, a form of escape from many challenges that they face, socioeconomic challenges, and suddenly within this belonging, within this group, you have access to some resources that you would normally not have access to if you are sitting at home all alone. So this is how gang violence is becoming rife and how many young people are being conscripted into it. But the other issue really is also the issue of vigilantism, which is an issue in South Africa. Vigilante groups are coming up a lot, where we see community members taking the law into themselves. And part of the challenge with this is the lack of trust in the criminal justice system, where, for instance, a crime has been committed, but justice in the form of criminal justice is slow in coming. And community members, because of this lack of trust, lack of confidence that the police are going to do their job or the criminal justice system is going to deliver justice, then they take the law into their own hands. And this is how we then see killings of people by community members. Sometimes those who are killed are the perpetrators or are criminals indeed, but sometimes some of these killings can be on the basis of allegations that someone has committed a crime. And we see in most instances, even innocent bystanders becoming victims of this on the basis of allegations or suspicion that they are the ones who committed the crime.
So, I mean, the apparent failures of the state needless to say, I mean, are a major contributing factor, whether you are looking at boys who may not necessarily want to belong to a gang but have no option, whether it's your poverty issues or whether it's protecting themselves. I mean, if the state cannot effectively protect them, then they are left with very little option. But then on the other hand, as you're saying in the latter part of that opener, I mean, if communities feel vulnerable and yet the state is not there to protect them, then they take the law into their hands, into their own hands. But are conversations actually taking place where it matters in trying to deal with this problem?
Our conversations need to happen at multiple levels, Vuyo, for a change or a transformation in some of these occurrences and the key drivers of some of these types of violence, like the ones that we are talking about today, gang violence as well as vigilantism. We basically need to engage community members around what are some of their issues, what are some of their challenges. And this engagement needs to happen also at a policy level, where we see at local government level, at various levels of government, as well as provincial government, these conversations are being held with community members so that they can talk about their challenges, and together with government and other stakeholders in the community, we begin to craft solutions and strategies to address and curb some of this violence. But in most instances, this is happening at a community level. Community members are raising their issues amongst themselves. The state is absent, be it local government or provincial government, to receive some of these grievances or to even go into details of some of these issues and proffer solutions. Usually when communities are fed up, when communities are frustrated, when communities are angry, this is when the outcome is now community members taking the law into their own hands and responding to the violence in their own communities using violent ways. And of course, some laws are broken. The unfortunate part is that you have law-abiding citizens becoming criminals overnight. But we also need to have a specific dialogue or platforms that really bring multiple stakeholders together to really address the issues. The issue of gang violence in South Africa, where the criminal justice system has a role to play, community members have a role to play, local government have a role to play as well. Given that some of these communities are within their jurisdiction, are the very communities where leadership should be having oversight on. And we should have civil society organizations. We should have other key stakeholders, even local businesses, providing some of the solutions or strategies to address the key drivers, the triggers and fuelers of these types of violence in communities. It can't be a one-sided approach or a one-sided conversation. It has to be a conversation that brings almost the entire sector of the community together to come up with solutions and strategies to addressing these types of violence, particularly the key drivers, the root causes, the triggers and fuelers of these types of violence.
That's where we're going to leave it for now. Anna, let me thank you very much for your time and insights. Annah Moyo-Kupeta, Executive Director at the Center for the Study of Violence and Reconciliation.